Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're tackling a really interesting discussion that's been doing the rounds in rugby circles.
Yeah, it's all about those Springbok forward tactics, isn't it? Specifically, the bomb squad.
Exactly. And some comments made by former Scotland coach Matt Williams have really stirred things up.
Right. We've been looking at an article from Planet Rugby covering his remarks and also the responses from guys like Steven Kitshoff, Nick Mallett, Jean de Villiers, former Springboks themselves.
Yeah, quite the lineup. And if you enjoy getting into the nitty-gritty of rugby like this, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession so you don't miss out.
So the core question we're trying to unpack today is this. Is this tactic, loading the bench with forward 7-1, 6-2 splits, is it actually a safety issue? Does it lead to more injuries like Matt Williams is suggesting?
Or is there another angle?
Mm.
Could it be, maybe, a strategic innovation? Something that might even counterintuitively help players' careers last longer.
That's the tension, yeah. We want to explore those different viewpoints for you.
Okay, so let's start with Matt Williams. What's his central argument here?
Well, he's pretty clear. He sees the bomb squad as a safety concern. He also feels it's a bit unfair, maybe, to backline players who don't get the same rotation.
And he specifically mentioned Steven Kitshoff's injury, didn't he? Tried to link that.
He did, yeah. He sort of speculated that Kitshoff's really unfortunate career-ending neck injury, the one he got playing Currie Cup, might be linked to South Africa's focus on the scrum, which he connects back to this bomb squad strategy.
His reasoning being?
His argument is that when you bring on fresh, powerful forwards late in the game against guys who are already tired, the force of impact increases.
Okay.
And he believes that increases the risk of serious injuries like brain and spine injuries because of that extra compaction, as he put it.
And he's quite firm on this.
Very. He's basically said he won't shut up about it and feels World Rugby really needs to step in and change the laws regarding the bench.
Right, so that's a strong stance. What about World Rugby? Have they weighed in on this type of thing before?
Yeah, they have. They've actually done their homework on this. They've carried out scientific and medical research looking specifically at the impact of fresh players versus fatigued players.
And their findings?
Well, based on the science and the medical evidence they gathered, their conclusion, for now at least, is that there isn't enough evidence to justify altering the laws about bench composition.
So World Rugby's research doesn't currently back up Williams' specific safety concerns?
That seems to be the case, yes.
Interesting. Now let's bring in Steven Kitshoff himself. How did he react to Williams linking his injury to the bomb squad tactic?
Kitshoff, well, he pushed back quite strongly. He described Williams connecting his injury to the bomb squad as illogical. Said it just doesn't make sense to him.
And why illogical? What was his reasoning?
The key point he made, and it's a factual one, is that the injury actually happened when he was starting for Western Province in a Currie Cup game.
Ah, so not coming off the bench as part of the bomb squad at all.
Exactly. So that specific link Williams tried to draw just doesn't hold up factually in this case.
That really changes the context of that specific example Williams used. But Kitshoff had more to say about the bomb squad generally, right? A different take.
He did, and this is quite fascinating. He actually suggested that far from being detrimental, the bomb squad strategy might help extend players' careers.
Extend careers? How so?
His thinking is that it allows for better player management, more consistent selection, maybe, but also gives players more rest because they aren't always playing the full 80 minutes week in, week out.
So managing workload.
Precisely. He pointed to the period between the 2019 and 2023 World Cups, saying he felt it helped create real consistency and depth in the Springbok pack because guys weren't being constantly overworked.
That's a really interesting perspective, flipping the argument completely towards player welfare in a different way.
It certainly is.
Now, Nick Mallett, another former Springbok coach, he also chimed in. What was his view?
Mallett was pretty much aligned with Kitshoff. He also used the word illogical to describe Williams' comments. He even sort of gently suggested that Williams' background, being an Australian coach, maybe more focused on the back line, might shape his view on forward play.
A little bit of coach-to-coach observation there.
Perhaps. But Mallett's main point was practical. If Williams genuinely believes the laws need changing, he should take it up directly with World Rugby. That's the proper channel.
And did Mallett address the safety aspect specifically?
He did. He reinforced World Rugby's position, stating their medical assessments haven't shown that a 7-1 split, for instance, leads to more injuries.
He also offered another possible reason for the criticism, didn't he?
Yes, he kind of floated the idea that maybe some of the frustration isn't purely about safety, but perhaps because, well, not every team has the same incredible depth and quality in their forward reserves as South Africa does.
Ah, so maybe it's partly about strategic advantage and difficulty matching it.
Oh, that was the suggestion, yeah. That
Huh.
the impact of those fresh forwards is hard for opponents to handle. He also agreed with Kitshoff about the potential for longevity, saying it can help older players manage their game time and give younger guys valuable experience.
And he made a general point about injuries, too.
Just the reality of the sport,
Mm,
really, that injuries sadly can happen anytime, anywhere, even in training, not just because of a specific bench strategy.
makes sense. And then John de Villiers, former Springbok captain, he contributed as well.
He did, particularly highlighting the discussion on the box office show where Kitshoff and Mallett were reacting to Williams. De Villiers really hammered home the factual error regarding Kitshoff's injury.
Emphasizing that Kitshoff was starting.
Exactly. And de Villiers, wearing his hat as chair of the Chris Berger Petro Jackson Players Fund, which is all about player welfare, stressed how important welfare is to him. But he felt that comments like Williams's, if they aren't grounded in fact, can actually be dangerous to the game. He also backed up the point that there's currently no evidence showing injuries have spiked because of fresh forwards coming on.
Okay, so a pretty clear consensus from the former Springboks we've discussed.
Definitely a strong rebuttal to Williams's core arguments, particularly on the factual side regarding Kitshoff and the lack of broader injury data supporting the claim.
Right, let's just quickly summarize the main conflicting views then. We have Matt Williams seeing the bomb squad as a dangerous tactic. Yeah. Riskier, unfair.
Yeah, that's his stance. Then you have Kitshoff, Mallett, and de Villiers pushing back hard. They're saying, look, the facts don't support this, especially the specific injury example used, and they even argue it might be good for player longevity.
And hovering over it all is World Rugby's current position, based on their research, which is that the laws don't need changing right now.
That's the state of play. And hey, if you're finding this deep dive useful, just a reminder to subscribe to Rugby Obsession to catch more analysis like this.
It really lays bare how these things can be viewed so differently, doesn't it? Strategy versus safety, perception versus evidence.
Absolutely. It touches on some fundamental aspects of how the game is played and managed today.
So we really want to know what you think. Having heard these different sides, where do you land? Is the bomb squad a safety concern that needs addressing? Or is it a clever piece of strategy within the current rules?
Yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments section.
And maybe something to mull over after this.
Yeah.
How do we best balance the drive for strategic innovation in rugby with the absolute priority of player welfare?
That's a huge question, always evolving.
Indeed. Well, that brings us to the end of this Rugby Obsession deep dive on the bomb squad debate, sparked by Matt Williams' comments.
We've covered the key arguments, the rebuttals, the official stance, hopefully giving you a clear picture of the discussion.
Thank you so much for joining us for this in-depth look. We really encourage you to keep thinking about these dynamics in modern rugby. The strategies, the welfare concerns, all of it.
Definitely keep the conversation going.
And make sure you're subscribed to Rugby Obsession so you're ready for our next deep dive.
We'll be back soon.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.